But then
I think you also need to know more about precisely who your clients are in terms of a poverty profile of the region or the country in which you're working. I think one of the criticisms that many microfinance institutions have faced is that they've taken money from donors and indeed now commercially in the name of serving the cause of poverty reduction without having any evidence whatsoever that this is indeed what they do. I mean, very often they've used measures such as targeting geographically more remote areas or looking at the average size of their loan or some similar measure to demonstrate that they are in fact poverty focused. But these measures are not really satisfactory. What we need are measures which look at the national, rural, urban poverty profiles of a country and which provide indicators which microfinance institutions can use themselves to demonstrate that they are in fact achieving poverty outreach.
Mm. So what advances have been made in recent years in terms of the poverty outreach agenda?
Probably the most important initiatives, and there are about half a dozen out there, are of course connected to the development of a social performance agenda, but within that I personally think that one of the most important developments is the capacity to monitor the poverty profile of clients upon entry and to monitor the poverty reduction outcomes, I wouldn't say impact, outcomes over time as MFIs work with their clients. Now, this has been a contentious area, but one of the most important developments has been the use of the large statistically based national poverty surveys, such as the Living Standards Measurement Studies, and the use of statistical analysis to link levels of poverty to specific household characteristics. For example, the occupation of the head of the household, the level of education attained by the most educated person in the household, the number of rooms in the house. In different contexts, in different countries, the statisticians have been able to provide very robust indicators of poverty characteristics and indicators which are relatively simple to collect information about. Indicators which are sometimes observable, such as in the case of housing conditions, or which are relatively easy to collect information about and are non-controversial. This may be, for example, education levels or access to health services. These are not measures which are necessarily directly related to immediate outcomes of microfinance programs in the form of female empowerment or in the form of asset holdings. They are indicators which, first of all, demonstrate that the households being met by programs are households that genuinely qualify as poor in some objective sense. Secondly, they are indicators which can be tracked over time so that we can see whether increased income at the level of the household, which is of instrumental rather than intrinsic importance, translates into intrinsic welfare gains for the household in the form of improved consumption and improved access to education and health services.
So what gaps still remain in terms of making poverty outreach measurement a reality for all MFIs?
I think the chief gap relates to the governance issues within the sector. I think the seduction of money from capital markets is a grave threat to the poverty reduction outcomes of the growth of the sector. I think we need to have more and stronger commitment on social performance management. We need to be training boards, we need to be developing mission statements, monitoring systems, staff training, incentives, products in ways which will allow microfinance to really perform against the double bottom line.
Mm-hmm.